what do you understand by your unique style of photography? Your signature style is your defining mark on your photography. It's the same way you see, like you'll have a Davasha logo on a photo saying that this photo belongs to Davasha. That's the same unique mark, and not putting your name or logo, but that's the same unique mark that identifies your work. Let's say you pick wedding photography. How do we know that this photo has come from you and not Davasha? So the uniqueness we are talking about is what signature of yours do you have in your photo that makes it yours. So it can be whichever genre you choose, but what makes it yours, for example. So you have to master the basics. If you don't know your camera, there is no way you'll come up with a style of photography, because most of the time you'll be fumbling where the settings are, what do I press, things like that. So you have to learn everything in your arsenal. You have to learn the basics, how the camera works, lighting, what equipment do what, modifiers, everything about photography. You have to learn it until it becomes second nature. Number two, you have to analyze your own images. Don't let anybody, when you're looking for, people can critique your work, but when you're looking for your own style, you have to be the person who will critique your own work. And when you look at your work, ask yourself, what is it about your photographs that make you feel alive? What is it in your images that make you feel like I want to keep doing this? Sometimes when you're struggling to look for a genre of photography, it's probably because you haven't figured this out. So you have to figure out what it is about your photos, what makes you pick the camera and shoot. If it's portraits, what is it about portraits that make you like portraits? And that way, that can help you analyze that can help you come up with your own unique style. Discover what inspires you. Like I've just said, you can pick wildlife photography as your genre of photography, but go deeper. What is it about wildlife photography that inspires you? Is it probably the sunset? Do you like shooting the sunset? The feeling that it gives you? Is it the golden hour? Is this what makes you like landscape photography? Yeah, because you might find that you don't like landscape photography. You actually probably just like lights, the lights and the different shades of light. Yeah, so go deeper into the genre of photography you like. Then learn everything you need to know about your niche. If I pick wedding photography, learn everything that goes into shooting wedding photographies. The time it takes to shoot, the time it takes to edit, the kind of lenses you might need. Learn everything about that niche of photography that you've chosen. Yeah, everything from equipment to time to the task to editing, everything you need to learn about it. If you decide I'm going to shoot portraits, make sure that most of your photos in your portfolio are portraits. Shoot it until it becomes monotonous, until you find that it's quote unquote boring to do. Shoot it, make sure you've shot it until it's second nature, the same way you've learned how to use your do it until it becomes repetitive. That's the only time you'll be able now to change it into something else. Before you do that, all your portraits can be compared to anybody else's portrait. They can be amazing photos, but it can be like anybody else's amazing photos. But once you do it until it becomes repetitive, until you ask yourself, I'm a bit tired about how I'm doing this, that's where your style will come from. That's when you develop your own signature. Yeah? and then look at the work of other photographers. And when I say other photographers, I mean when you sit down and you imagine yourself at your best, if everything was perfect, if you were the best artist in the world, if everything was perfect, who would you want to be like? Who would you want to shoot like? I was saying the YouTube is a very good teacher, but not when it comes to identifying your style. Then it's not, because there's too many information from too many people. So figure it, and you're the only one who can figure out who inspires you. Wasipite watu watatu. Don't let them go past 3, but let them be 3 people who you know it'll be, you even have a mind telling you you'll never be like them. Those ones, get those ones. And lastly was develop your style in post-processing. It doesn't, provided the day you chose photography is the day you had to learn post. So many people fear post-production. They'll shoot, give somebody else to edit. But if you want your own style, you have no choice. You have to, one day probably I'll do a class, workshop on Photoshop. I'm actually better in Photoshop than even than this. Yeah, but you have to learn post-editing software and master it, because that's the only way you'll put your signature. Your camera can, there's some people who can shoot and sell their photos immediately from the camera, but remember, that doesn't sell your signature. That just sells the goodness of the camera, what the camera did. Yeah, so pick any post-editing software you want, whichever comes easy to you, learn about it, and use it to develop your own style. That was it.